All right, well, welcome back to yet another lab. Today we're going to explore the fascinating world of highly available VMs using availability sets. And there's more theory slash lecture on availability sets in the lecture uh, video. But we'll spend 2 to 4 minutes covering the basics here. But for more information, please refer to the video in this playset called Theory. All right, so availability sets. Well, availability set is a logical grouping for isolating VM resources from each other. Let me expand this open a little bit. Maybe I should turn on word wrap. There we go. All right, that's better. Let's start again. An availability set is a logical grouping for isolating VM resources from each other when they are deployed. Azure makes sure that the VMs you place within an availability set run across multiple physical servers, compute racks, storage units, and network switches. So, what's the benefit of that to you? Well, if a hardware or software failure happens, only a subset of your VMs are impacted, and your overall solution stays operational. Availability sets are essential for building reliable cloud solutions. So let's picture what this means. Imagine you have a web farm, and if you're on the on-prem world and you built 4 web servers, and you placed all 4 web servers in the same rack, and all 4 web servers in the same rack were connected to the same switch, and all 4 web servers are in the same rack that are connected to the same switch, are also connected to the same power supply. So the switch is in the same power supply, and the 4 VMs are in the same power supply. Well, if you lost power, all 4 of your stuff would be dead. So your redundant web server farm is killed because you lost power to one part of your data center. And vice versa, if that switch went out, all 4 of your web servers are out. So what availability sets do is you create what's called fault domains, and you make sure that each fault domain has a unique switch and unique power to it. So that's where the redundancy comes in. Another part of an availability set has to do with update domains. That is when Azure is pushing out updates. If you have the 4 web servers again in the same update domain, when Azure pushes updates, all 4 would reboot at the same time. But if you make, say, 2 update domains, and you put 2 of the web servers in update domain 0, and the other 2 in update domain 1, well then as update domain 0 is being updated and rebooting, you still have 2 web servers available. A nice little article that Microsoft has is right here. So let's take this, paste it into our web browser here, and let's see what it has to say. I'm having a hard time pasting. Oh, look at all that stuff I've got. That's crazy. Let's try that again. I don't know what happened there. Undo. All right. Edit. Copy. Start a new browser session. That's a little better. Now we're rolling. And this one, here's what the 2 things I mentioned. Fault domain. It's a logical grouping of underlying hardware that share a common power source and network switch. Then update domains. It's a logical grouping of underlying hardware that undergo maintenance or to be rebooted at the same time. So here's your scenario. Fault domain 0, 1, and 2. So if this fault domain lost power, these 2 would be up aboard. When this one, update domain 0 reboots, you still got these servers still online. So for more information, go ahead and read this article or refer to my video. But what you say, and here's one little last line. Use availability sets when you want to deploy reliable VM-based solutions in Azure. Okay, so I think that's all the theory we need, and we're going to go ahead and get to creating our doing our lab. So like most labs, the first thing we have to do is, I'm going to clear a screen here, is create our resource group. Well, I've got a nice little PowerShell script all ready for us. You've probably seen this before, but this is the first time you're watching. I really do suggest you go through each video one by one. I know it might be, you might just be interested in one topic, but if you're going for a certification, I tend to explain more of the simple steps early on. So, for example, this lab is about availability, so I'm not going to really talk about how to create a resource group, for example. I'm just going to give the commands. Whereas, suppose first time I create a VM, I went in depth about how the resource group command is, what a resource group is. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and create the resource group. We're on the line, and we're using my favorite resource group, SpeedRG. And the next thing we need to do is create the availability set. And you know, we got location parameter. We're going to give the name of speed aval set for speed availability set. We're going to put in the resource group called SpeedRG SKU aligned. Now, what the devil does that mean? I'll let you guys think about that, and I'll reveal the answer in a little bit. Platform, maybe you guys could Google it when we're waiting for the VMs to be built, and we'll reveal the answer then. So the question is the SKU parameter. What are the two choices? And there's two choices. And I'm not giving away anything huge there, because if you were typing it out, until it's not working because I got other lines there. Let me undo so I don't have a typo. Wow. There we go. And the platform fault domain count 2. We're going to build 2 VMs. So we want VM0 and VM1 in separate fault domains. And same thing with update domains, 2 of each. So 1, 1, 1. All right, then so let's run this command. Create the availability set. Excellent. Let's clear our screen. Now we're going to define our credentials for the VM. And this is a little bit new. This command here, we've probably seen lots of times. In the last lab, we used a new AZVM PowerShell script for sure. A couple things extra we added here. Well, we added the $I, for a number. It's a variable, and we'll talk more about that in a second. Image. Last time we used this command, we used a custom image name, but we're going to use 2006 Data Center here. Virtual network, same virtual network we always use. And if you're following along, these are not created already. The only thing we created so far was a resource group. We're going to create a security group, Docker Win. Let's change that to speed. Then public IP address, we're going to use that I again. This represents 1 and 2. And where that comes from, let's talk about it now since I mentioned it twice. We got $I equal to 1 here. And this is saying as long as I is less than or equal to 2, keep running this little loop. So that's going to get us 2 VMs. Open ports 3389. So that command in the last lab and probably one before that. Here's a new parameter, availability set name. It matches the same name that we just defined right here. That's important. And then here's our credential variable, so I don't have to type it in each time. So we're going to run this command here to define our username and password credentials. And then we're going to run our script here. And ready, set, go. It's going to be interesting. You'll have two of these bars this time because we're creating two VMs. And the name is because of that variable there. So we'll call one called speed VM1 and then speed VM2. And they'll be in the respective availability sets. I'm going to pause the video and return when this is all done. Don't forget, go ahead while you're waiting, look up skew, what it means. Just a small update. Notice my first VM was created, and I have the nice blue bar. And as the second VM is being created, speed VM2, it's showing me the second bar. Just wanted to point it out in case someone's not actually following in the lab with doing actual hands-on work. So be back soon. Okay, we're back, and you can see we have two VMs. Well, it looks like we have two VMs, right? Because you can see the PowerShell script looks successful. We'll check that out in the portal, but I don't want to forget to talk about the skew parameter. This is parameter that defines if you want the availability set to use managed disks or unmanaged disks. Believe me, you don't want to use unmanaged disks with your VMs in Azure. It's a lot of overhead, and while you do save a little bit of money, I don't think anyone with it that has general reason would recommend using unmanaged disks. So, as you probably could guess, aligned means use managed disks, and then unaligned would be, classic would be for unmanaged disks. So aligned, managed, classic, unmanaged. All right, now that's out of the way. Let's go check out our portal. Resource groups. Hit the magic resource refresh button. I don't see it. That's really weird. Let me go back to here. Really should be a refresh button. Or am I? Well, oh, there. Wow, I just didn't see it. There we go. I knew it was there. Anyway, we got a resource group. Let's go into our resource group. And we should see a bunch of stuff. Bunch of resources. Two VMs for sure. Yep, there they are. Here's our availability set. We got our speed VM1, speed VM2. The IP addresses are appropriately named using those variables. And let's look at our availability set resource. Let's click on it and see what it gives us here. And here we go. You get the resource group, nothing right there. Managed yes, virtual machines 2. And it tells you the name of the machine and what fault domain, update domain it's in. These other don't tell you much. If I click here, it's going to give you this exact data here, so you can see. There's really not much else in this blade that seems worth mentioning. So that's the end of this lab. A little bit short of a lab, 14 minutes and just one part. And the next lab will be probably our first three-parter. It's going to be about creating scale sets. Then I believe where I'm going to go after that is the previous two labs, create a VM image, and this one, you could also do via the portal. So I might go back and do some of the labs via the portal as opposed to use old PowerShell. PowerShell is important because the exams are more and more PowerShell only. Microsoft seems to want to get out of the way of the portal. I'm at 14 minutes and 45 seconds, so got to go.